The message came on a Tuesday. Captain Allison Wright was at her station in the North American Space Defense Command when her screen lit up with an unusual signal pattern. At first, she thought it was a glitch in the system. The pattern didn't match anything in their database. "Jerry, come take a look at this," she called to her communications officer. Jerry Simmons hurried over, coffee mug in hand. His eyes widened as he studied the screen. "That's not one of ours," he said quietly, "and it's not Russian or Chinese either." Wright nodded. "That's what I thought." She pressed a button on her console. "General, we have something you need to see." Within an hour, the room was filled with military personnel and scientists. The signal wasn't random noise. It contained a clear message, repeating over and over. It had come from beyond Jupiter's orbit. Dr. Samantha Rivera, head of Earth's Advanced Propulsion Lab, pointed at the decoded message displayed on the main screen. "It's an invitation," she said. "They call themselves the Galactic Coalition." A heavy silence fell over the room. "First contact," General Frank Patterson said. "After all these years of wondering, they found us first." The news spread quickly. Aliens existed, and they wanted to meet humanity. The message included coordinates for a rendezvous point near Jupiter and mentioned that the coalition was a peaceful confederation of 27 species. 3 days later, world leaders gathered at the United Nations to decide how to respond. They chose Chief Diplomat Daniel Green to represent Earth. He was steady, intelligent, and had a talent for reading people. They hoped those skills would work on aliens too. "We should accept their invitation," Green told the assembly. "But we should be cautious. We'll send our best ships and our best people." Earth had only 7 space vessels capable of making the journey. The most advanced was the UES Endeavour, a sleek exploration ship with the latest fusion engines. Next to the massive ships described in the alien message, Earth's fleet would look like toys. Fleet Commander Jackson Carter was chosen to lead the mission, with Captain Wright as his second in command. They had 6 weeks to prepare. "We're going to be representing all of humanity," Carter told his crew during their first briefing. "We don't know what these aliens want from us, but we're going to show them what humans are made of." The day of departure arrived with clear skies. Millions watched the live stream as Earth's small fleet lifted off from the lunar base. The ships formed a V pattern with the Endeavour at the point. Inside the Endeavour's bridge, Wright checked the ship's systems one final time. "Navigation systems online," said Lieutenant Paul Dixon from his station. "Course to Jupiter plotted and locked in." "Communications check complete," Jerry reported. "All ships reporting ready status." Commander Carter nodded and took his seat in the command chair. "This is it, people. The most important journey in human history." He turned to Wright. "Captain, take us out." "Yes, sir." Wright's fingers moved across her console, engaging main engines. The Endeavour surged forward, its fusion drive leaving a blue trail against the blackness of space. The 6 other ships followed in perfect formation. As they passed the moon, Green stood by the viewport, watching Earth grow smaller. "Do you think they'll like us?" he asked quietly. Wright joined him at the window. "I don't know, but they'll respect us. We've come a long way in a short time." Earth's tiny fleet accelerated toward Jupiter, carrying the hopes and fears of an entire planet. None of them knew what waited at the rendezvous point, but they were determined to face it together. The journey to meet the Galactic Coalition had begun. The journey to Jupiter took 3 weeks. For the crew of Earth's small fleet, each day brought them closer to an encounter that would change human history forever. On the final day, Commander Carter called his officers to the bridge of the Endeavour. "We'll reach the meeting point in 6 hours," he said. "I want all ships at full alert, weapons systems on standby, but not active. We're here for peace, but we'll be ready for anything else." Captain Wright studied the sensor readings. "Sir, we're picking up something big ahead. Very big." The main screen showed a massive object moving toward them. As they got closer, they could see it wasn't just one ship. It was a fleet of vessels, each one larger than anything humans had ever built. My God, whispered Jerry. One of those could swallow our entire fleet. The largest ship was at least 2 miles long, with sweeping curves and glowing blue engines. Smaller ships, though still enormous compared to Earth's vessels, surrounded it in a protective formation. Incoming transmission, Jerry announced. They're requesting we dock with their flagship. Carter nodded. Tell them the Endeavour will dock. The rest of our fleet will hold position. The Endeavour approached the massive alien ship. Magnetic clamps guided them into a docking bay large enough to hold all 7 Earth ships with room to spare. When the airlock opened, Carter, Wright, and Green led a small team onto the alien vessel. They were met by a group of tall, blue-skinned beings with 4 arms and large almond-shaped eyes. Welcome, humans, said the tallest alien in perfect English. I am Ambassador Zal Kree of the Arcturus species. On behalf of the Galactic Coalition, I greet you. Green stepped forward. Thank you for your invitation, Ambassador. I am Daniel Green, representing Earth. This is Commander Carter and Captain Wright of our space fleet. Zal Kree's eyes moved over the humans, lingering on their uniforms and equipment. Your species has advanced quickly. Just a century ago, you were limited to your own planet. Now you travel between worlds. We're eager to learn, said Green. Zal Kree gestured toward a doorway. Please, join us for a tour of our vessel. As they walked through the ship, the humans were overwhelmed by the advanced technology around them. Gravity controls, energy fields, and computer systems beyond anything Earth had developed. This is our weapons control center, said a green-skinned alien officer as they entered a large room. From here, we can target any point within the solar system. Carter noticed several alien officers exchanging glances as they looked at the humans' equipment. Your communication devices are interesting, said one, examining Jerry's tablet. Very compact. Thank you, Jerry replied, not missing the hint of amusement in the alien's voice. During a meal with the coalition officers, Wright overheard 2 aliens talking quietly. Did you see their ships? One said. Such primitive designs. I'm surprised they made it this far. The Council must be desperate to invite them, the other replied. What can this tiny fleet possibly offer against the Draconians? Wright kept her face neutral but made a mental note to tell Carter later. After the tour, Zal Kree brought them to a large meeting room where a holographic display showed a map of the galaxy. The Galactic Coalition spans 3 spiral arms, Zal Kree explained. We've enjoyed peace for centuries, but now we face a threat. The Draconian Empire has begun expanding aggressively into Coalition territory. He pointed to a red area on the map. They've already conquered 6 systems in the past year. That's why we're reaching out to new species like yours. We need allies in the coming conflict. Green and Carter exchanged glances. Earth had hoped for cultural exchange and technology sharing. Instead, they were being invited into a war. The Council offers Earth probationary membership in the Coalition, said Zal Kree. You would receive technology, protection, and trading rights with all Coalition worlds. And what would Earth provide in return? Asked Green. Zal Kree's 4 hands came together. Your ships would join our defense forces. Your people would serve alongside ours. We'll need to discuss this with our leaders, Green said carefully. Of course, Zal Kree replied with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. We understand that decisions of this magnitude require consideration, even from a species with such a tiny fleet. The human delegation returned to the Endeavour to discuss the Coalition's offer. They sat around the conference table, faces serious in the blue light of the ship's interior. They're looking down on us, said Wright. I heard them talking. They think our ships are primitive. Carter nodded. I noticed that too. But they need allies, even ones they don't respect. Green tapped his fingers on the table. The question is, do we need them? And what are we getting ourselves into? They set up a secure link to Earth. On the screen, the United Nations Security Council listened as Green explained the situation. They're offering us advanced technology, he said. but they want our ships to join their war effort. What kind of technology? Asked the Secretary General. Dr. Rivera joined the call from Earth. Based on what Captain Wright has sent, their propulsion systems alone are centuries ahead of ours. Their medical technology could end disease as we know it. And their weapons? Asked the Russian representative. Impressive, said Carter. Energy-based systems that make our best missiles look like fireworks. The debate lasted for hours. Some leaders wanted to reject the offer, fearing Earth would become cannon fodder in an alien war. Others saw an opportunity Earth couldn't pass up. We can't turn this down, Dr. Rivera argued. This is our chance to leap forward, but we should be smart about it. In the end, they decided to accept with conditions. Earth would join the coalition but would maintain independent command of its fleet. They would share some technology but keep certain Earth innovations private. The next day, Green met with Zal Kree to deliver their answer. Earth accepts your invitation, he said, but we have some conditions. Zal Kree's face showed surprise at the word conditions. He clearly hadn't expected the humans to negotiate. We will join your defense forces, Green continued, but Earth ships will remain under Earth command. We will coordinate with coalition admirals, but not take direct orders from them. That is unusual, said Zal Kree. Most new members fully integrate with our command structure. Earth is unusual, Green replied with a smile. We're willing to learn, but we must maintain our independence. After some discussion, Zal Kree agreed to take the proposal to the Coalition Council. 3 days later, they received an answer. The Council accepts your terms, Zal Kree told them, but your fleet will be assigned to non-critical sectors only. You understand, of course, that your technology is limited. We understand, said Green, hiding his frustration at the dismissive tone. Over the next month, Earth began receiving coalition technology. Engineers from 27 alien species came to Earth to help set up new systems. At the same time, Earth sent crew members to train with coalition forces. Not everything was shared. The coalition kept their most advanced weapon systems private, and Earth did the same with certain technologies. Dr. Rivera led a team studying the alien tech. Their approach is different from ours, she told Carter during a secure call. They focus on raw power. We focus on efficiency and adaptability. Are we still working on the quantum shield project? Carter asked. Yes, and the AI tactical systems too. The aliens don't need to know about those yet. Carter nodded. Good. I don't like how they look at us. Like we're children who need to be protected. Let them think that, Rivera said. It might work in our favor. Earth's tiny fleet was stationed in Sector 8, far from the Draconian border. Coalition officers visited occasionally, making barely hidden jokes about the human ships. Don't worry, one alien commander told Wright. This sector never sees any action. Your primitive weapon systems should be more than adequate. Wright forced a smile. We'll try our best to keep up. Meanwhile, in a secret facility on Mars, Earth's best scientists were working day and night. They weren't just adapting coalition technology. They were improving it, combining it with human innovation in ways the aliens had never considered. The Galactic Coalition had no idea what they had invited into their ranks. 6 months passed. Earth's ships patrolled the quiet space of Sector 8, far from any action. The crew trained with their new systems and waited for something to happen. Nothing did. On the Endeavour, Lieutenant Kyle Warren sat at his tactical station, studying data from the Coalition network. Warren was quiet and serious, with a mind that saw patterns others missed. Captain, I think I found something, he said to Wright one day. Wright came to look at his screen. What am I seeing, Lieutenant? Draconian attack patterns from the last 3 months. Warren pointed to different spots on the display. Everyone thinks they're random strikes, but they're not. Look here and here. Wright studied the screen. Slowly, she began to see what Warren had found. The Draconians weren't just attacking targets of opportunity. They were following a specific strategy, testing coalition responses. "Have you shown this to Coalition Command?" she asked. Warren nodded. "Yes, ma'am." They dismissed it, said I was seeing patterns that weren't there. Wright frowned. "Send your analysis to Commander Carter. I think he needs to see this." That night, Carter, Wright, and Warren met in the commander's office to discuss the findings. "If you're right," Carter said, looking at the data, "the Draconians are planning something big. They're probing defenses, looking for weak spots." "I'm right, sir," Warren said with quiet confidence. "And they found several weak points here, here, and here." He pointed to 3 sectors on the map. Carter studied the map. "That's a problem. But the Coalition won't listen to us. We're just the primitive newcomers with our tiny fleet. Maybe we could get Green to talk to them," Wright suggested. "They seem to respect him more than us military types." The next day, Green met with Zal Cree. He presented Warren's analysis carefully, trying not to sound like he was questioning Coalition military strategy. "Your lieutenant has an active imagination," Zal Cree said with a dismissive wave of his hand. "Our military strategists have centuries of experience. They see no pattern in these attacks." "With respect, Ambassador," Green said, "humans have a different perspective. Sometimes a fresh view can spot things others miss." "Perhaps," Zal Cree replied, clearly unconvinced. "I will pass this along to the Grand Admiral, but I wouldn't expect much." As Green predicted, the Coalition ignored Warren's analysis. But Carter didn't. He ordered all Earth ships to run simulations based on Warren's predictions. If the Draconians attacked where Warren thought they would, Earth's fleet wanted to be ready. Meanwhile, Green continued his diplomatic work. He built relationships with representatives from other species, especially those who were newer to the Coalition like Earth. During one meeting with the Centauri delegate, Green learned something interesting. "The Council is concerned," the Centauri told him quietly. "Draconian forces are building up near the Tarsus sector. It's a rich mining area with minimal defenses." Green thanked the Centauri for the information and immediately contacted Carter. "Tarsus sector," Carter said, checking the star map. "That's just 2 jumps from us. Can we get there if needed?" Green asked. "Yes, but we'd need permission to leave our patrol sector." Green thought for a moment. "Let me see what I can do." The next day, Green met with Zal Cree again. Instead of arguing for Warren's analysis to be taken seriously, he took a different approach. "Ambassador, Earth wants to prove its value to the Coalition," he said. "Our ships have been patrolling Sector 8 for months without incident. We'd like to request a more challenging assignment." Zal Cree looked surprised. "You want to move closer to the conflict zones. Are you sure your ships can handle that?" "We believe they can," Green said confidently. "We've integrated many Coalition systems now." Zal Cree considered for a moment. "The border of Tarsus sector has seen increased activity. It's not a critical area, but it would be more challenging than your current assignment." "We would be honored to help protect it," Green said, hiding his satisfaction. "Very well. I'll authorize the reassignment," Zal Cree said. "Though I must warn you, if there is real trouble, you should retreat and call for proper Coalition forces." "Of course, Ambassador," Green replied with a respectful nod. "We know our limitations." But as he left the meeting, Green smiled to himself. The Galactic Coalition had no idea what humanity's limitations really were. Earth's 7 ships moved to their new position near the Tarsus sector. The UES Defiant, commanded by Laura Phillips, took the lead position. Phillips was a former fighter pilot with quick reflexes and a quicker mind. "Maintain yellow alert status at all times," she told her crew as they took up their patrol route. "Lieutenant Warren believes this area could see action soon." For 2 weeks, they patrolled without incident. The crew began to wonder if Warren's prediction had been wrong. Then, on day 15, the sensors lit up. "Captain, multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel," called out the sensor officer. "Draconian signatures confirmed." Phillips moved quickly to her command chair. "Battle stations. All ships form defensive pattern Delta. Send alert to Coalition Command. On the main screen, 12 Draconian ships appeared. They were dark and angular, with sharp edges that seemed designed to look threatening. The lead ship was 3 times the size of the Defiant. "They're scanning us," reported the tactical officer. Phillips watched the screen calmly. "Let them look. Lieutenant Warren, is this what you expected?" Warren nodded, studying his displays. "Yes, Mom. Scout formation, just like their pattern suggested. They're testing our defenses before the main force arrives." "Coalition Command acknowledges our alert," said the communications officer. "They advise us to monitor only and retreat if the Draconians approach. Reinforcements are 4 hours away." Phillips smiled slightly. "Acknowledged. But we're not going anywhere." She opened a channel to the other Earth ships. "All captains, implement Warren Protocol 1. The Earth fleet began to move in what looked like a disorganized retreat. The Draconian ships followed, probably thinking they had scared off the defenders. "They're taking the bait," Warren said, moving into position. Phillips watched as the Draconian ships spread out to pursue the seemingly fleeing Earth vessels. Now, the Earth ships suddenly reversed course, moving with surprising speed. Instead of fleeing, they were now inside the Draconian formation, each Earth ship targeting a specific enemy vessel. "Fire targeted EMP bursts," Phillips ordered. "Aim for their control systems." The Coalition had never seen this weapon before. Earth had developed it by combining Coalition energy technology with human computer systems. The pulses were designed to disrupt specific systems rather than cause physical damage. 5 Draconian ships suddenly lost power to their weapons. 2 more spun out of control as their navigation systems failed. "Second wave, prepare to fire," Phillips commanded. The Draconian commander was not slow to react. The remaining ships began to focus their fire on the Defiant, recognizing it as the command ship. "Shields at 80%, reported the tactical officer as the ship shook from enemy fire. "Activate adaptive shielding," Phillips ordered. This was another human innovation. While Coalition shields used massive power to block attacks, Earth's shields analyzed enemy weapons and adapted to each specific energy signature. The next Draconian blast hit the Defiant, but the shields held at 75%. "They're confused," Warren said, watching the enemy movements. "Their sensors show their weapons hitting us, but we're not taking the damage they expect." Phillips smiled. "Time for Phase 2. All ships, execute attack pattern Omega." The Earth fleet moved with perfect coordination, as if the ships were connected. In a way, they were. Another human innovation: quantum-linked communication systems that couldn't be jammed or intercepted. The Draconians tried to regroup, but Earth's ships were always one step ahead, predicting their moves and countering them. 20 minutes into the battle, 3 Draconian ships had been disabled. The others were struggling to coordinate their attacks. Then, the biggest surprise of all. The Draconian commander sent a message, not to Phillips, but to his own fleet. "Retreat. These are not the easy targets we were told. Fall back and regroup." The Draconian ships turned and fled, jumping back to faster-than-light speed as quickly as they could. On the Defiant's bridge, the crew cheered. Phillips allowed herself a small smile before quieting them. "Good work, everyone. But this was just a scouting party. The real test is still to come." She turned to her communications officer. "Send a message to Coalition Command. Tell them the threat has been neutralized. No assistance required." 4 hours later, when the Coalition reinforcements finally arrived, they found only the Earth fleet, calmly patrolling as if nothing had happened. News of the Earth fleet's victory spread quickly through Coalition channels. Most officers dismissed it as luck. A small scout force caught by surprise, nothing more. The Coalition Grand Admiral called it a minor skirmish of no strategic importance. But in private meetings, some began to ask questions. How had Earth's tiny fleet defeated a superior Draconian force without losses? What weapons had they used? 1 month after the battle, The real trouble began. Draconian forces launched a massive, coordinated attack across 3 coalition fronts. Warren's predictions had been right. The earlier attacks were tests, gathering data for this major offensive. The coalition scrambled to respond, but they were caught off guard. Within days, they had lost 2 major bases and a key supply route. On the Endeavor, Carter received an urgent message from Coalition Command. "Commander Carter," said the Grand Admiral, his tone less dismissive than usual, "we have a situation that requires your fleet's assistance." Carter kept his face neutral. "How can we help?" "Admiral, our forces are engaged on multiple fronts. Long-range sensors show a major Draconian battle group headed toward the Tarsus supply route. All nearby coalition ships are already committed to battle." Carter understood what wasn't being said. Earth's fleet was the only force available to intercept. "What are your orders, sir?" Carter asked. The Admiral hesitated. "Your task is to delay the Draconian group until reinforcements arrive. Hold them for 6 hours if possible. And if that's not possible, then retreat after inflicting whatever damage you can." The Admiral didn't need to say they expected Earth's ships to be sacrificed. After the transmission ended, Carter called a meeting with his captains. They connected via secure quantum link from their respective ships. "They're sending us on a suicide mission," said Captain Wright bluntly. "They expect us to die slowing down the Draconians," agreed Phillips. "But they don't know what we can do." Carter nodded. "Lieutenant Warren, show us what we're facing." Warren's image appeared on the screen. Draconian Battle Group consists of 1 command carrier, 4 heavy cruisers, and 12 escort vessels. They outgun us at least 15 to 1. "If we fight conventionally, we lose," said Carter. "So we won't fight conventionally." "Lieutenant, is your Operation Thunderbolt ready?" Warren nodded. "Yes, sir. We've run over 200 simulations. It's our best option." "It's risky," Wright pointed out. "We'll be revealing capabilities we've kept hidden. If we don't use everything we have, we won't survive to worry about secrets." Carter replied. "Captain Phillips, your ship performed best in the simulations. You'll take point on this operation." Phillips nodded. "The Defiant is ready, sir." 6 hours later, Earth's 7 ships waited in position. The Draconian battle group would exit faster than light travel in this exact spot, according to Warren's calculations. "All ships, final checks," Carter ordered. "Quantum links secure. Adaptive shields at maximum. New weaponry online." "Sir," Wright said quietly, "it's been an honor serving with you." "Save the goodbyes, Captain," Carter replied with a small smile. "We're not done yet." The space in front of them distorted as 17 Draconian warships appeared. The massive command carrier dwarfed even the Coalition's largest vessels. "They're scanning us," reported Warren. "They seem confused. I don't think they expected to find only our ships here." "Let's use that confusion," said Carter. "Captain Phillips, you have tactical command. Execute Operation Thunderbolt." Phillips' voice came clear through the quantum link. "All ships, initiate Phase 1. Deploy stealth drones." From each Earth ship, tiny objects launched silently into space. These were another human innovation. Small, nearly undetectable drones loaded with sensor packages and miniature EMP devices. The drones spread out, surrounding the Draconian fleet like an invisible net. On the Draconian command carrier, the alien commander likely laughed at the tiny human fleet facing them. Their sensors would show 7 small ships against their 17 powerful warships. "They're powering weapons," Warren reported. "All ships targeting us. Hold position," Phillips ordered calmly. "Wait for my mark." The Draconian ships moved forward, weapons ready. They expected an easy victory against these primitive human vessels. They had no idea what was coming. The Draconian commander's voice boomed across all channels. "Human vessels, this is Commander Vexcar of the Draconian Empire. Surrender now, and we may spare your lives." On the Defiant, Phillips smiled. "No response needed. All ships, execute Phase 2. In perfect unison, the Earth fleet split apart. The Draconians fired, but the human ships moved with incredible speed and precision, evading the energy blasts. "Drones in position," Warren reported from the Endeavour. Carter nodded. "Activate." Across the battlefield, 200 stealth drones activated at once. They released targeted EMP pulses designed to affect specific systems on the Draconian ships. On the enemy vessels, confusion erupted as weapon systems suddenly went offline. Navigation controls froze. Communications between ships cut out. "Phase 3, ordered Phillips. "Hit and run attacks." The Earth ships darted forward, striking with precision. They targeted engines, sensors, and weapon systems. Each attack was calculated for maximum effect with minimum energy use. "The Draconians are trying to regroup," Warren observed. "Their command carrier is sending override codes to restore ship-to-ship communications." "Perfect timing," said Carter. "Launch the virus." This was the most secret of Earth's weapons. While the Coalition focused on raw power, humans had developed digital weapons. The virus, delivered through the quantum link to the stealth drones, jumped into the Draconian network. On the enemy command carrier, control screens flashed and went dark. The massive ship began to drift. 4 Draconian escorts have lost all power, reported right from her ship. 3 more have limited function. The cruisers are still operational, but can't coordinate their attacks. The battle continued for 2 hours. Earth's ships darted in and out, striking weak points, and then retreating. Their adaptive shields changed frequency constantly, making them difficult targets. When Draconian weapons did hit, the damage was minimized. "They're adapting," warned Warren as the battle entered its 3rd hour. "The 2 lead cruisers have isolated their systems from the network to avoid the virus." "Time for the backup plan," Carter said. "Captain Phillips, execute Nova Protocol." Phillips gave new orders. The Earth fleet regrouped into a tight formation. To the Draconians, it might have looked like the humans were finally making a mistake. "Power readings are rising on the enemy cruisers," Warren said. "They're preparing to fire everything they have at us." "Hold steady," Phillips told her crew as the Defiant took point position. "Shields at maximum." The 2 Draconian cruisers fired simultaneously, sending massive energy beams toward the human formation. "Now," Phillips ordered. The energy beams hit what appeared to be a single shield surrounding all 7 Earth ships. But instead of blocking the attack, the shield absorbed it, glowing brighter and brighter. This was the quantum mirror, another human innovation. It didn't just stop enemy fire. It collected the energy and redirected it. "Energy capture complete," reported the Endeavour's engineer. "Ready to return fire." "Target the command carrier," Carter ordered. From the center of the Earth formation, a brilliant beam of energy shot forth. The combined power of the Draconian cruiser's own weapons, focused and enhanced. The beam struck the Draconian command carrier dead center. The massive ship shuddered, and then a series of explosions rippled along its hull. "Direct hit," cheered Warren. "Their main power core is destabilizing." The command carrier didn't explode completely, but it was clearly out of the fight. Its lights flickered and died as emergency systems took over. The remaining Draconian ships were in disarray. Without central command, each captain made their own decision. Some continued to fight. Others began to retreat. "Coalition reinforcements arriving in 30 minutes, reported the communications officer. Carter nodded. "Let's finish this before they get here. All ships, target remaining active vessels. Disable, don't destroy if possible." The Earth fleet moved with surgical precision. One by one, the remaining Draconian ships were neutralized. By the time the Coalition reinforcements arrived, the battle was over. 17 Draconian warships hung dead in space. Earth's 7 ships patrolled around them, barely damaged. The Coalition Admiral's voice was filled with disbelief when he contacted them. "Commander Carter, what happened here?" Carter's reply was simple. "We dealt with the problem. Admiral, the Draconian battle group has been neutralized." "But how?" Carter looked at his bridge crew and smiled. Let's just say humanity's tiny fleet had a few surprises.